Miss Awkward Anastasia. When are you gonna get around to straightening out my desk? How am I supposed to get any work done if my workspace is so disorganized? I don't want to come in tomorrow morning to such a mess. So you better make sure to tidy up my space before you leave today.
Julia, I'm sorry, but I have no idea what you're talking about. You know very well that it isn't my job to clean up your desk, or rather, anyone's desk but my own.
Of course it is. Don't be such a fool. You're just an administrative assistant, so obviously it's your job to pick up miscellaneous tasks around the office, and that includes straightening up my desk. So get to it already, because I don't want to stay any later.
I'm sorry, but I still have no idea what it is that you're talking about. I handle the administrative work for the office, but my job description doesn't include cleaning up your desk space. Isn't that something that you should be doing on your own?
You see, that's why people like you will never be able to move up the career ladder. You're nothing but an awkward, introverted old lady. You're in no position to tell me what to do. I'm on my way to become one of the top managers here, whereas you'll always be a paper pusher. You should be more aware about who you're talking to.
Just so you know, the administrative staff are also full-time employees like yourself, so there's really no difference between us.
Yeah, right. Compared to the work that we do, your tasks are nothing more than a walk in the park. Our job actually brings in money for this company. All you have to do is answer some phone calls and file some papers. Don't talk to me like you're so important or anything. We're a completely different rank.
A different rank? To be honest, I've never thought about it like that before.
Are you serious? Not only are you older than me, but you've been working here for a longer time, and you've never thought about where you stand? That's just a pity, and you must be miserable.
I've never felt pitied by anyone here before. Why do you make it seem like admin work is such a lowly job? And like you said, I'm older than you and have seniority in this office. Don't you think that you should show some respect and be mindful about the way you talk to me?
Oh, don't worry. I'm much more respectful towards everyone who's important in this office. And I don't mean to offend you or anything, but what motivation do you have to come into work every day? You do boring admin work all day, and you're hardly talkative, so it's not like you mingle with anyone in the office. Where's the fun in any of that? You're like the face of all antisocial and awkward office ladies in the corporate world.
Can you stop with the name calling already? I really don't appreciate that kind of negativity from you. I have no idea what your intention is, but your animosity does nothing to help whatever work relationship we have with one another. But it doesn't change the fact that we still have to work together. There's no need to prove or even act like one of us is better than the other. It's not a competition. If you're not comfortable with the way I am, you can just ignore me. You don't have to make it a point to harass me about it every single time.
Ignore you? But that'd be rude, and I'm not like that. No matter how antisocial you are, I always acknowledge your presence, don't I? That alone makes me nicer than most people in this office.
I never asked for any kind of consideration from you.
I know you never asked me, but I still go out of my way to notice, because that's just the way I am. And aren't you just jealous of me because I've been making my way up the corporate ladder, whereas you've been stuck in the same old admin job since you first started working? I've always been a career-minded woman, so I know a lot of people admire the way I am. Although some people just got jealous of me because I'm more intelligent and successful than them, and you're one of those people, right? You must be disappointed in yourself that someone younger and with less experience is moving up higher than you.
Not everyone works just so they can get to the top. I know that you put in all your effort so that you can earn that top position, but that's what you chose for yourself. I just don't feel the same need to be given a top title, and I'm perfectly happy with my current position. But if there's one piece of advice I can give you, it's that you should stop coming in late and leaving early so often. Especially since you never have a legitimate excuse for your absences.
What? Why is it up to you to point that out? It's not even any of your business.
In fact, it is my business, because it's part of my job to write up a report whenever anyone is late coming into work or leaves early. So please be more mindful of your working hours from now on.
Don't be so bossy. I'm sure that it's not part of your job to tell me what to do. You're just a lowly admin assistant. What's it to you if you have to write up one extra report? It's not like you have anything important to do anyways.
I'm not trying to boss you around or anything, but I don't see any point in trying to talk to you anymore. So if you'll just excuse me, I'd like to get back to my job. Oh, and one last thing. Don't forget to clean up your desk space before you leave the office today.
So, I hope you're ready for the big day. You're not too nervous, are you?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the party that's taking place this weekend. Don't tell me you forgot about it.
Of course not. How could I possibly forget such an important event?
Well, that's a relief.
I'm sorry. I've just had a lot on my mind these days. I didn't mean to make you worry. Of course, I haven't forgotten about the party, and I'm looking forward to it very much. I'm sorry if I seemed rather aloof just now.
Is everything okay? Do you want to talk about it?
Well, there's this particular employee who's been giving me trouble lately.
Let me guess. Is it that over-enthusiastic newbie in the sales department again? What is it? Did she say something to you?
It's not that big of a problem. It's an issue between me and her, so there's no need for you to get involved. Thanks for your concern, though. I guess I'm more exhausted than I thought.
Do you want me to say something to her?
No, that's all right. I'm not a child anymore, and I definitely don't want to trouble you. Besides, I can handle my own problems by myself.
But you know that one word from me and it'll resolve any problem you're having immediately. Well, that's one of the things I find most attractive about you in the first place. You're always hardworking and never try to take the easy way out.
Like I said, it's really not that big of a problem, so I really shouldn't let it concern me so much. But it's the same thing over and over again every single day, and I guess I'm starting to lose my patience. I just wish there was something I could do to better deal with this situation.
I promise that everything will change after the party this weekend. You'll see that it's only a matter of time before that problem employee will finally see where she actually stands, once and for all. And when she does, I bet she'll no longer harass you like this anymore.
I don't know. It makes me really uncomfortable to take advantage of a position I didn't earn on my own.
That's very honorable of you, but there's no need to be so serious all the time. You've done enough for this company to earn my respect, and I'm sure that many other people will agree with me. Besides, you're not taking advantage of me or anything. You've earned it, honestly. Anyway, just know that I'm always here for you, so you can talk to me about anything that's troubling you.
Yeah, you're right. I guess I'm just overthinking this situation, which is a bad habit of mine. Thanks for your vote of confidence. I'd be completely stuck in this slump if it weren't for you. I'm really looking forward to this party, so I'll do my best to not let this bother me anymore.
I think that would be best. By the way, I'm having your dress shipped to you directly. It's a gift from me to you.
Oh, Tim, that's so sweet of you. But you spoil me way too much. Thank you. I can't wait to wear it this weekend.
What a loser. Where do you think you're going wearing that hideous thing? It's pretty obvious that you're in the wrong place, Miss Awkwardness. Why don't you just go home now?
Julia, you're kidding, right? You don't honestly think that you'll get away with what you've done.
This party is hosted by the CEO of our company. There's no reason for the administrative staff to show up. Were you even invited? Even if you were invited, you should have the decency to not show up. This isn't the kind of party for people like you. And the dress, which discount store did you even get it from? It doesn't even look good on you.
But that doesn't give you any right to pour red wine down my dress and kick me out of the party. What kind of a horrible person are you? There's a huge stain on my dress now because of you.
That's too bad, but it's your own fault. A fancy dress like that isn't meant to be worn by a loser like you. Why are you here anyways? You're always so antisocial, so I didn't even think that you would actually show up. Besides, your work uniform is much more your kind of look. You look even more awkward than usual in that dress.
Julia, I'm sorry, but you've really taken things much too far this time. I've been very tolerant of your mocking, but this is just more than I can take. I promise you that you'll regret doing what you've done to me. Don't you have any idea why we're having this party in the first place?
Of course I know what it's for. That's why I'm telling you all this, as a courtesy to you, so you don't make a fool of yourself. This isn't the kind of event for people like you.
Oh, so you do know what this party is for?
Yes, but I just don't understand why a lowly admin assistant like you would be here for the CEO's engagement party. Like I've been saying, you don't belong here, so you should just go home. It's too bad that you couldn't understand that until I poured the wine on your dress. I actually did you a favor, since you now have an excuse to leave this party right now.
Fine, if that's what you want. But are you sure that you want me to leave the party?
Yep, and the sooner you leave, the better.
If that's what you really want, I'll do as you say and leave right now. But just so you know, you're gonna regret it pretty soon. I can assure you of that. What do you want? And what's wrong with you calling me non-stop over 200 times? Are you insane? Have you even given any thought to what an annoyance that is?
I'm so sorry. I've made a huge mistake. Please come back to the party as soon as you can. Everything is a complete mess over here.
That's what I thought. But it doesn't even come as a surprise to me. I told you that you would regret what you've done.
It turns out that it was a huge problem that you left the party. I had no idea that it would be such a big deal. But you can fix this if you come back right now. So please, I'm begging you.
It's just as I'd expected, so I'm sorry to say that I have no remorse for you. I'm sure that I was very clear when I said that you would regret making me leave.
If you knew that it would be such a problem, why did you actually leave? You should have told me that sooner. If I had known this before, I never would have done what I did in the first place. It's not fair. Please come back to the party right away and tell them that it was all a misunderstanding. Otherwise, things are going to end up really badly for me.
You can blow up my phone with your non-stop calling and plead with me all you want, but don't you think that it's a bit late for all that? You should have thought about the consequences beforehand. Anyways, I don't mind going back there, since it's my party to begin with. But if I have to see your face again, I'd rather not, to be honest.
Oh, come on, don't be like that. I told you that I had no idea, and I'm sorry. But who would have imagined that you were Mr. Gore's fiancé? It was a complete shock to me.
Regardless, it still doesn't justify what you've done. You poured wine down my brand new dress and kicked me out of the party that was meant to celebrate my engagement to our CEO. Either you're really clueless or just stupid for not realizing this sooner. That's the problem with you millennials. You're just too naive to figure these things out. But don't think that you can just get away with this. You've certainly taken things much too far this time.
I promise none of this was intentional. I really had no idea. So you have to forgive me. But please, just come back. Mr. Gore is absolutely furious with me. You have to make him understand that I didn't really mean anything I said. I'm begging you. If you don't do something about this, he'll probably fire me on the spot. He's just fuming.
Oh yes, you're absolutely right. Timothy just texted me as well. It seems that you have the right idea about what he's planning to do. Well, that's just too bad, isn't it? What a pity though. But you completely deserve this because of what you've done. It's about time you take responsibility for your actions, don't you think?
There's no reason to be so cold-hearted. If you even care about what happens to me the slightest bit, you'd come back and fix this. You can't just sit back and let me get fired.
Do you think I really care what happens to you? Whether you end up getting fired or not has nothing to do with me.
What? How could you say that?
Think about it. You've done nothing but mock me every day until now and look down on me because of my position. And you took every opportunity to put me down and act like you were so much better than me. Don't get me wrong. I never wished that you would leave this company, but it's a bit of a relief to think that I wouldn't have to deal with your harassment from now on. So, if you're about to be let go, I wouldn't try and stop that from happening. I guess I should even thank you for bringing this upon yourself.
Huh? Are you seriously gonna betray me like that?
You claim to be one of the top employees in our company and seem to consider yourself such a career-focused woman. But isn't it true that you've only worked here for 2 years? What makes you so sure that you're so important, or that you can get away with whatever you want?
That's not what I'm trying to say. This has nothing to do with my previous career.
You're right, but you're still late coming into work all the time, and you leave before any of us almost every day. It's hard to imagine that you spend nearly enough time in the office to get any work done. As a matter of fact, is there even a day where you spend a full day at the office actually working?
Of course there is. I'm very dedicated to my work, in case you didn't know. I'm just very efficient when it comes to finishing my tasks, and I'm very focused when I set my mind to it. I'm on my way to be promoted and earn a top position here. There's just no way that I can be fired over this little misunderstanding. It's just unacceptable. But you can prevent all of this from happening if you just come back to the party already. And please, you've got to convince Mr. Gore to take back what he said about letting me go. Otherwise, it would be such a disaster.
Unfortunately, that's not part of my job description, is it? And if Timothy's already made up his mind about what he wants to do with you, then I can assure you that he'll follow through with it. He's a man of his word. So it won't matter what I say to him. He's not going to change his mind. Anyways, I've decided to head back to the party, so I'll be there shortly. But if I see that you're still anywhere near the venue, I'm not going to go inside until you leave the premises.
What? So does that mean that I have to go home? But then I won't know if I've been let go or not. I can't just leave feeling so uncertain about everything. Please, Anastasia, you have to let me stay. And you have to talk Mr. Gore out of firing me. You're the only one who can smooth things over now.
I have absolutely no intention of doing any of that. Your poor attitude towards work and lack of dedication has been a big problem for our company, and rumor has it that many of your colleagues don't even like you. And your frequent absence have caused a lot of extra work for the administrative department. So in fact, you've been creating more trouble than good for this company. If it ends up that you're let go because of this incident, I'm sure that it'll be one more thing we can celebrate tonight.
How could you say such a terrible thing? I've already apologized for my previous words and behavior. What more do you want me to do? Don't you think that it's enough punishment already that I was threatened to be let go? I'll even admit what I've done and apologize for everything in front of all the guests, if that's what you want.
You can apologize all you want, but it's all a bit too late now. Everything that you've said and done to me up until I left the party has been really stressful, and I'm sure that you have no idea the emotional toll that it's taken on me. But the dress that I'm wearing tonight, the one that you completely ruined, was a gift from my fiancé.
Your fiancé? You mean Mr. Gore, our CEO?
Yes, the one and only. He specifically chose this dress for me to wear to our engagement party tonight. And not only did you mock his selection, but you also ruined it by pouring wine all over it. I've let you get away with most of your immature antics until now, but this is just the last straw. I'll never forgive you for disrespecting my fiancé like that.
Now that I know who your fiancé is, I feel really terrible about what I've done. I'm truly sorry for everything. I promise you that it's my sincerest apologies. Isn't that more than enough for you to forgive me by now?
Well, just so you know, I'll be sending you the bill for the dry cleaning fee. But I wonder if they'll be able to get that stain out completely. Red wine on a cream-colored dress. I'm sure they'll do their best, but I wouldn't really count on it. Oh, and if the slightest stain remains, you'll have to pay for the dress in full.
What? I have to pay for it? I'm afraid to ask, but how much does that dress cost exactly?
I have no idea because I received it as a gift. But if his other gifts are any measure of what this dress may have cost, I'd say it's a bit out of range for most people. In case you need a better comparison, it probably cost a few months' worth of your paycheck. So I wonder if you'll even be able to pay for it. Especially since you no longer have a job starting next week.
No, wait. I can't get fired. There's just no way. What's going to happen to me if I no longer have any income? This is such a disaster. I'm barely able to pay off my credit cards even now.
I don't know why you're even telling me that, since it has nothing to do with me. Your overspending is not my problem to deal with. All this time you've been insulting me because I'm more introverted than you, but what about yourself? You spend more than you can afford on brand name items just so you can keep up the appearance of being outgoing and keeping on top of all the current trends. But in reality, you're just carrying this huge debt and pretty much living paycheck to paycheck because of your high interest credit card payments. Isn't it ironic how things actually are below the surface? And it will be a big problem if you're fired in this situation, isn't it? Let me just tell you that I'm glad I'm introverted and antisocial, as you say. Especially since I have no need to keep up any sort of appearance for the sake of others. Unlike you, I'm quite comfortable with who I am and what I do.
I promise not to call you antisocial anymore. So please, just help me out this one time. You have to come back here, like right now. I'm about to be kicked out from the party soon. You have to stop that from happening. Please, you have to tell them that I can stay. I'm begging you. I've always been friendly towards you until now. You're not going to just ignore that fact, are you?
Friendly? In what way? I can't even recall a single time that you've acted decently toward me. Besides, I've never even wished to be on friendly terms with you in the first place. We're much too different, so there's no way that we would have ever gotten along. So, as I'm sure you heard from the CEO himself, you're fired. Perhaps you should have considered your actions from the beginning. then you might have at least still had your job. But for now, you better not show your face in front of me ever again. After that, Julia was asked to leave the party one last time, but when she still refused, security was called in and she ended up being led away by them. But as you can imagine, she didn't leave quietly. She was kicking and screaming the whole way out while all the guests looked on in complete disbelief. At the same time, Anastasia returned to the party, where her fiancé was anxiously awaiting her arrival. Anastasia was finally able to make her appearance at the party, hand in hand with her beloved CEO. Julia, on the other hand, was shown the true meaning of rank and finally realized the false impression that she'd always carried about herself. The reality of her mistake was such a huge shock to her that she pretty much had a mental breakdown. Timothy was able to introduce Anastasia as his wife, and everyone graciously celebrated the happy news. Blessed with everyone's well wishes, Anastasia couldn't have been happier with how things ended up. As for Julia, she was let go from her job immediately, just as Timothy had ordered. She was begging and crying for Anastasia's forgiveness, but was completely ignored, and it's no surprise either. It turns out that Julia had earned herself a pretty bad reputation, so rather than trying to sympathize with her situation, everyone was severely critical of her previous actions. As a result, she had no choice but to leave, this time without causing such a huge scene and embarrassing herself. In order to keep up her appearance as an elite career woman, Julia had maxed out multiple credit cards with her extravagant spending. By this time, she was already so far into debt that she was taking out loans to pay off her credit card bills. But that only caused her to go into further debt, and she just found herself in a never-ending cycle of borrowing and repaying. With no job and no savings, Julia became completely a lost cause. But unfortunately, there's no one to blame but herself for the way things turned out. Karma always gets its way in the end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to see more content.